As you may already know, my name's Clare Baker and I'm a former Clutterholic and Borderline Hoarder. I successfully cleared all my clutter over 20 years ago without the need for an expensive home visit. And I've been helping people around the world do exactly the same thing ever since, so that they too can know what it's like to live a clutter-free life forever. Now, it's important to me that you know that you're not alone with your experiences and challenges with your clutter. Those of us who struggle with clutter rarely have supportive friends and family. Because let's be honest, we don't understand why we struggle with our clutter. Our friends and family don't understand why we struggle with our clutter. And the frustration that no one seems to understand why we struggle with our clutter can often lead to World War III. So I like to share my experiences to help fellow clutterholics and hoarders and their friends and family understand some of the thoughts, feelings, and experiences that we have when we struggle with our clutter. So in this video, I'm going to share with you one of my experiences when I was discovering the 7-step clutter clearing journey, which enabled me to clear all my clutter, become clutter-free forever, move on, and start living my best life. So when I had my clutter challenge, I realized I was going to have to make peace with my past and forgive myself if I wanted to move on. I had to let go of my imperfect past, the regrets, the hurts, the unresolved grief, even happy times which made me feel lost in the present. The past is never gone. It's not even past, wrote somebody called William Faulkner. Well, that's very true. I just had to look at my piles of clutter to see my past right there in front of me, getting in the way of my present and future. Of course, it made sense that our past is never gone. As cavemen, our survival was dependent on remembering our past encounters with those saber-toothed tigers so that we didn't go out into the forest unprepared. The other advantage of having our past in our present is that our brain can make sense of our world. Our brain has evolved to seek order in our environment to help us feel less vulnerable. So it makes sense that we keep our clutter until we understand and make sense of it, regardless of whether or not the things in our clutter trigger negative feelings, memories, or emotions, or are even being used. Our brain's priority is to make sense of it so it can restore order. So we keep hold of the things in our clutter until our brain can satisfy that need for order and make sense of the past. Our brain will ruminate on the past until the sense of order outweighs the pain and trauma that is being triggered by the clutter. Research has actually shown that it's our habit of avoiding this reflection and focus on our past so that we can create that order that keeps us trapped in the past. No wonder it's so hard to let go of our clutter. So as I started to revisit my past and get that sense of order so that I could move on, I needed to tread really carefully in giving my brain the sense of order that it needed. I didn't want to be overwhelmed by the feelings, the memories, and the emotions. So I created something called the Life Timeline. It's a practical tool that enables you to see different elements of your past, both in context and with the benefit of hindsight. It's an essential tool that we use when we're on our clutter clearing journey. It helps your brain because writing things down moves the connection that your brain makes with those memories from an emotional response to a logic and reason response. It also enabled me to change how I saw traumatic events in my past life by seeing them from a different perspective. Now, I may not have been able to change my past experiences and traumas, but I could change the way I interpreted and reacted to them. I started building my life timeline. I saw past traumas and events from a different perspective, which gave me new understanding, and I was able to make more sense of my past. It wasn't about getting certainty about anything. We're not trying to prove anything or prove anyone was right or wrong. One of the complexities of life is that no one is wrong about a given event or situation, because everyone will have a different perspective and experience of the same situation. So, for example, the actor standing on the stage has a different experience of a play compared to the person sitting in the audience. They're part of the same play, but they have different perspectives and will have different experiences of that play. Neither is wrong, both are right. So making sense of my past traumas and events, the unhealthy relationship with my parents, the unhealthy relationships I'd had with men, my ME and glandular fever when I was a teenager, the multiple jobs I'd had, the no clear career that I'd had, my struggle with finances, my sense of being stuck in my life. Even when I was interfered with by a babysitter at the age of 5, I could see this all now in context and from a different perspective. I could see how they may have influenced decisions that I made in my life. And I could see I had a habit of avoiding facing and dealing with traumas. I could see how I had flitted and focused on something shiny and new rather than taking the time to understand, grieve, and make sense of my life so that I could let go and move on. Don't get me wrong, it was good to see things from a different perspective, but the perspective I'd been looking at them for all my life had been what had kept me trapped in a negative victim cycle. My habit was to think, yes, but, rather than the positive, yeah, and if. As I struggled to let go and accept a different perspective on my life, I sought help from my therapist, who taught me an exercise that I've used many times since, and which I encourage Journey members to try when they feel they've been sabotaged by a gremlin from their past. So, talk to yourself about the past from the here and now in the present. First, take a picture of yourself from around the time that the trauma or event that you're trying to process happened. I used my photograph from when I was 4.5. Then look at your life timeline and notice what else was going on in other areas of your life around that time. Finally, imagine that you're giving your younger self in that picture advice based on the benefit of hindsight that you have now in the present as an adult. Deciding to clear your clutter isn't just about deciding what you want your clutter-free home and life to look and feel like. It's about being open and willing to revisit your past, make peace with it, grieve it, and let go of the present and future you thought that you were going to be living by now. It's about deciding to accept and move on from your past, not live in it. Your past, the good, the bad, the ugly, made you the wonderfully unique person you are today. My clutter is the reason that you're watching this now. I've made peace with my past and let go so that it doesn't define me in the here and now. And the best bit is, I get to decide and write the rest of my life story and the life timeline. As Noam Schaefer said, it's not the past experience that keeps people stuck, but the habits developed to cope with them. Are the habits you've developed to cope with your clutter challenge helping or hindering you from living your best life? If they're not helping you, then maybe it's time to accept that what you've been doing hasn't been working, and it's time to get the help you need to succeed. You can clear your clutter fast, or you can clear your clutter forever, but you can't clear your clutter forever fast. Click on the link in this video to find out how I can help you successfully clear your clutter forever without the need for an expensive home visit.